Welcome back, you lovely bunch. Thanks for tuning in again. I hope you're all doing good. As you can see, I have my gravel bike all stripped and prepared because today we're going to be putting on the new WheelTop GeX Gravel Groupset. Look at it. Look at it. Wireless shifting. Awesomeness. I love it. If you want to know more about this group set, I have done an unboxing video. This is just like a setup video. Obviously, I'll talk you through the setup. Fingers crossed it's all quite straightforward. I mean, all I'm doing is bolting on a rear mech, sorting out the gears and then setting up some disc brakes. So it shouldn't be too complicated. For anyone that doesn't know who WheelTop are, they make these awesome group sets. I've got this gravel one, I've got one right next to me on my road bike, and I've got another one on my mountain bike, and they work really well. And I'm super excited to actually build this up because this is my winter road bike, it's my gravel bike, it's a bit of everything, and I need to test this out properly. And what better way to do it than to abuse it in the awful British winter. I mean, we're nearly there. We're not quite winter yet, but we're nearly there. So there's a couple of standout features of this WheelTop group set. Obviously the wirelessness is awesome, but it is customizable, I think from 3 to 14 speed. It's also available for cable pull brakes, which is great. And then it's the price. This is cheaper than Shimano, it's cheaper than SRAM, it's cheaper than Campagna, it's cheaper than everything by a significant amount. I'll put links down below so you can actually see just how cheap it is yourself. So I think it's time to stop nattering and get building. All right, let's go. So this shifter, this has like 2 buttons on it. It's obviously the shift up and the shift down, but also we have another button on the left shifter. So I think potentially this could be run as a 2x. So it says EDS TX here, and this is actually just the road shifter. And all they've done is they've paired it with the gravel rear mech, which then leads me to believe that you can use this as a 2x setup. You just need to get the front derailleur, I guess. But anyway, yeah, look, nice ergonomic like lever. The hood cover is like incredibly tough. The buttons are like got a little rigidly bumpy bit on them, and honestly it's like nice. You're always gonna have a grip on there when it's wet. Yeah, it's a very small and sleek like hood. Look at how thin that is. And then obviously in the hand, like it feels really good. I'm gonna pop the other one on. And again, this one just has 1 button as opposed to this one that has 2. So I believe this would be your front mech, which would be up and down on the front, and then this would be the rear. But when you're running a 1x, a really cool thing is you can actually use these as paddle shifters. So it's like, and I love it. I mean, maybe not for everyone. If you do just want to do it like Shimano. And you can switch the buttons around as well. So you can have this one going down and that one going up, or vice versa. It's up to you. Very customizable. Right, so that is the derailleur all set up. The brakes actually come with all the hardware. So whatever size your rotor, 140, 160, you have the right spacer in there. Hopefully I can just get this straight through. There we go. I love it when cable routing goes perfectly. And the pads themselves are actually carbon and ceramic, so I'm expecting some tip-top stopping power. I'm also hoping that they're not a mega faff to set up because this is going very smoothly so far, and when it goes smoothly, I'm just expecting something to go wrong at some point. Yeah, it looks dead nice, right? And obviously the blue matches the blue on the frame. This was not thought out, but it's just a happy coincidence. All right, so I'm gonna get this taped to the bars and then hopefully get it all connected. So obviously it's important we get the right amount of cable length in there. That's not the front brake. This will be the front brake. Oh, that was nearly very bad. So let's get this set up. For me, disc brakes are still the most terrifying thing. Oh no. I just pulled my lever. That's not what you want to do. Disc brakes are not that fiddly, but I'm really clumsy. So for example then, I just leant on the lever, which squirted a whole load of fluid out, which then means now I'm going to have to top up my fluid. I mean, I'd have had to bleed it anyway and get the air bubbles out, but I could have done without having like hydraulic fluid squirting everywhere. So these shifters use the mineral oil. They don't use the dot oil like SRAM. So I think mineral is just better, it's just less grim. I know everyone has their own preference, but for me, considering how messy I am, I prefer a bit of mineral oil. I've got the olive on there, I've got the barb in there. I've had no problems at all with my road bike brakes that I set up myself. They're actually very nice. Right, so I think that is all set up. I'm gonna have to spray a bit of brake cleaner on there, but we have a front brake. So the thing with me is I always get worried that I'm gonna cut the cable too short. On more than one occasion, I've gone to install my brakes and I've cut the hose far too short. And now it's a bit long. It's kind of offensively long, but I'm just going to leave it and I'm going to do the back brake, and then hopefully I can hide that behind my bar bag. One of the advantages of running a nice bar bag is it hides your messy, far too long cables. I'm not going to spend hours faffing about. We're going to get the back brake set up and then we're going to put the wheels on, put the chain on, and then I think we're ready to have a little bit of a run through the gears to see if they work first time. So place your bets now. Do you think these gears are going to work without me going into the app? Can I just get away with doing it without any crazy fine tuning? I'm hoping so. Right, let's get the back brakes set up and crack on. So you put the little screw bit on the olive and the olive gets crushed, which creates a seal in there. Like WheelTop stuff is not like a nightmare to set up, it really isn't. Like, I know the app and the gear setup can put a lot of people off, but even like setting up these brakes, as you can see, like I'm not a trained mechanic. I've never learned how to set up disc brakes properly. I've been shown by a friend, thank you Dan, and now I can do it myself. These brakes are very similar to Shimano. They're not quite like the SRAM ones, and I believe the fitment things are all the same as well. So if you do have a bike with GRX on it, I think in theory you could just unbolt your brakes and put these brakes on using all the same fixtures and stuff without actually having to rebleed and deal with that stuff. Obviously if you're taking your brakes off and putting new brakes on, you're going to have to like get the air bubbles out your system, but I'm pretty sure they are cross compatible with Shimano. I mean, that's the thing about this group set, it's just actually really clever. Right, so I have these brakes nice and tight. I'm hoping there's no leaks there. We're going to put the wheels on, the chain on, and then see if these gears work. Right, now I'm going to be honest, that was a little bit of a faff. Can you see? Look. Or you can very much get there in the smallest cassette. So with this group set you do a lot of your fine tuning in the app, but the initial calibration, like you kind of have to use your limit screws, but I couldn't find the limit screws, and as it turns out they are underneath this cap. So this sits on here now, and there's two tiny little limit screws. Why would we put the limit screws like all the way hidden in there? It seems very illogical, really, to me. It does. Like, sorry, I'm not even on camera. I've got no idea why they would put the limit screws in there. It seems very kind of counterintuitive. I mean, you want to be able to adjust your gears without taking apart your rear mech. So I had to go on the WheelTop website, I had to look up how to change all the gears, and this is the first time I've had to do this. I haven't had to do this with any of the other setups. I mean, we're all done now. I don't see what the problem is with putting two limit screws on the outside here so I don't have to disassemble my derailleur. I mean, I don't know, am I just mad? It seems to be working pretty well. Right, let's go for it. Well, what an absolute pleasure that is. It is never, honestly, that simple. But yeah, no fine tuning, no tweaking, no clicking, just seems to work. Yeah. So it was relatively simple, apart from WheelTop for some reason deciding they're going to hide the high and low screws. Like, let's not hide the high and low screws. We really kind of just want to be able to see those so we can access them on the trail, on the fly, and do some fine tuning. I mean, to be honest, their reason for hiding them is probably because you're not going to use them, because once your bike's set up and you've done that high-low, there is no cable stretch, there's none of that to deal with. So I suppose you can just have them covered up and not worry about them. It's kind of like a set and forget kind of thing. This is very much set up for some winter gravel shredding with the WheelTop GeX electronic shifting. So all I need to do now is get my bars taped up and then take this little beast for a ride. What do we think? It's very much the same bike, just with one massive upgrade. Electronic shifting. Can't wait to try this out. It was a breeze to set up until I had to find the limit screws. Gears work perfectly. I didn't need to go into the app, didn't need to fine tune it. The brakes are all set up. The brakes are set up. They are tough as nails. It is incredibly cheap. I mean, I think this is about £500. Compare that to its competitor, I mean, that's a big saving. You won't get a crank, you won't get a cassette, and you won't get your discs with it. But for a wireless group set, I don't think it's very bad. And I'm looking forward to taking this for a ride. So massive thanks to WheelTop for sending this over. Any questions about WheelTop, let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Bye.